How's it going, guys? Luke here. So the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta has come and gone. It has been gone for probably about a couple of days now at the time of making this video. And I just wanted to give my honest thoughts, feedback, impressions, and basically review of the beta and what I think it could mean for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 as a whole, as the full release is going to come to us on November 14th. Just a general feeling of the beta. I actually quite liked it. I didn't think it was the best beta that I ever played, but I thought it was a pretty good beta, and I think that Black Ops 7 is going to be, at the very least, much better than Black Ops 6, which I hate that game. I don't think Black Ops 6 is very good, but I do think overall Black Ops 7 will be better than BO6, but in some ways that we're really probably weren't expecting when the beta initially released, but probably are going to be happy when the full game comes out. So I'm going to touch on a few points that really are not going to be in any particular order, whether it's good or bad or what have you. Just going to give out my thoughts, my honest thoughts on this whole thing. And if you guys are new to me, I'm mainly a search and destroy player. That is what my videos are based on, and that's my favorite game mode to play. So a lot of this is going to come from an S&D perspective, but I try to include a lot of things that I think would benefit the game as a whole. So to start off with, I just want to touch on the good, and let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way, and that is that classic skill-based matchmaking is going to be coming back, seemingly, according to Treyarch, where ping is going to be king and skill-based matchmaking is going to be severely limited, like how it was in the golden age of COD. With the open playlists that they brought into the beta, my excitement and my enjoyment of the beta just went up like times 100. You know, I thought that the first couple of days were, okay, yeah, this is Call of Duty. It's kind of miserable to play when you have a couple of decent games and then you're put into the SBMM blender. But I am very happy and was very pleased in the beta that classic matchmaking is coming back. But I do have some concerns on whether or not it's really going to be here to stay when Modern Warfare 4 comes out. But I do think that, at least for now, with BO7, this is going to be a very good thing if they are going to implement it the way that we all hope that they will. But speaking of that, they also announced that persistent lobbies are going to be coming, and I am someone who really doesn't care one way or the other if they bring back persistent lobbies or don't, but I think that since the community really wanted persistent lobbies to come back, I think that's good for everyone involved. And who knows, for me, maybe I will enjoy having persistent lobbies back and be like, oh, I actually kind of miss this. This is actually pretty cool. So I think that's a really good thing. And they also announced that aim assist is going to receive some changes, and hopefully as a keyboard and mouse player, it does get nerfed to a good extent. And when I say that, I don't mean that I want them to nerf aim assist into the ground, because obviously I'm someone, even though I'm a keyboard and mouse player, I understand controller needs aim assist. Absolutely, no question about it. But I think for where it is now, it is just way too strong. So hopefully they get that toned down to a reasonable level, and it's nice to see that they're going to do that. Another thing that I saw in the beta was that cheating didn't really seem to be much of an issue, so hopefully that will continue with the full release. But one of the big things that I liked was that it really did seem like the maps were pretty decent, especially much better than those in Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6 has some of the worst maps that I have ever played in a Call of Duty, and I especially thought that the maps played much better in Search. Like Exposure, I didn't think played all that well for Respawn, but for Search, I thought it played much better. Same thing with the map Imprint. Another thing I really liked was that the kill streaks seemed very good, especially the Gravemaker. I had a lot of fun using that. I didn't really get a chance to experience all of the streaks, especially all the lethal ones that they brought into the beta, but I did like the dog. I thought the dog was fun, and didn't get a chance to use the VTOL warship or the robot soldier, I forget what the name of it is, but they seemed really good, and it's nice to see that we have good kill streaks probably coming back to Call of Duty. And speaking of that, the weapons I thought felt very nice overall, and I thought that visual recoil, again, as a keyboard and mouse player, was really good, probably some of the best that we've had since Modern Warfare 19. And for Search seems pretty good, especially when they brought in the open playlist for S&D, and I do think that there could be some adjustments with Search, especially the bomb placements on certain maps, like the Forge. I thought the Forge had some really bad bomb placements. Like, I believe A-bomb was planted right in the middle of the map with those rotating walls. So yeah, I think there could be some adjustments there, but I thought S&D seemed pretty good and was really fun, especially when I was playing with my friends. Another thing that I really liked, and I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I actually did, was the overclock system. It seems really good. It seems very fun. It brings a fresh new thing to Call of Duty. But I do think that the XP gained for each of the equipment streaks, what have you, for the overclock system could be increased a little bit. I noticed that when I was using the stim, I wasn't gaining much XP from it. Hopefully they can adjust that a little bit. I think that needs to be a little bit better. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, not directly related to the beta, but what was revealed at COD Next, is that all the camos, the mastery camos, across the board were really good. I was a fan of a lot of them. There was like maybe 2 of them that I thought were, yeah, they're good, but they're not the best. But across the board, I really think I'm going to have a decent time, especially with limited skill-based matchmaking, getting all of those camos. But zombies seems pretty good as well. Obviously, it was a very limited map that we got with zombies and very limited experience with it. But it seems like classic Treyarch COD zombies, and it still looks pretty good. And one other thing that I wanted to mention that I really liked, but I see that the community is probably not agreeing with me on this, is that I thought that footstep audio in general was balanced very well. It did not seem too loud to the point where you needed to use Ninja, but it didn't seem too quiet to where it felt as if that you couldn't make any plays, or that you couldn't hear anybody. So I thought that they balanced it very well. I know that they're probably going to increase footstep audio, which I would not like personally, but because I thought it was perfectly balanced. So hopefully they keep it that way, but let me know what you guys think about that in general. But I wanted to move on now to some of the bad from the beta, but maybe not all this is like so bad. It's just general feedback that I have. Starting with the big one for me is that I think the movement still seems way too fast. And I know that a lot of people may disagree with me on that, but I believe Exclusive Ace did a video on this where he was comparing the sliding in the BO7 beta versus the sliding in BO6, and it was pretty much the same. The intensity of the slide, the duration of the slide was pretty much the same. And I'm personally someone that did not like it as a keyboard and mouse player, where it's not necessarily something where I can't keep up with it, but it's really something where, because of how powerful aim assist is, that keyboard and mouse in general, anyone just can't keep up. Shroud even made a couple of comments on this when he was playing the beta, that it just seems like keyboard and mouse is a dying breed in the COD scene. And a lot of it has to do with this movement. So I think they do need to tone down some parts of the movement, such as the slide and how quickly you can get into a slide. But I do think that the wall jump was a rather nice little flavor added to the game. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I was like, it is what it is. It's fine. It's not a big deal to me. But hopefully a lot of this can get balanced with the much better balancing of aim assist. Something that I did notice that I didn't see a whole lot of people talking about is that it seemed to me that visibility of players could be a little bit better, that the name tags could appear a little bit sooner when an enemy is on your screen. I noticed this a lot of times when I played the Modern Warfare 3 beta, and I think I noticed it in BO7. Hopefully they can adjust that. One other thing that was a big point of contention for me is that the health regen seems a little bit too slow. And it seems again that stims are going to be a crutch in the game because of how slow health regen is. And I really wish that they would just speed it up just a little bit to where you don't feel like you have to use a stim or the Enforcer combat specialty. So that's a big piece of feedback that I would like to give to them. And also, when your health regens, one of the things I noticed is that the audio cue for where you're fully healed is rather delayed. It still makes the sound for where it seems like you're still not fully healed. I think they need to adjust that a bit. Something else that I noticed that I didn't like was that the minimap seemed very small in terms of it didn't show as much information as we're used to. I know that during the beta they increased the minimap information by about 15%. They expanded the minimap by about 15%, but I still think it could be expanded much further. There was also a glitch going on, at least I experienced this. I don't know if any of you guys did, but some of the maps, like on exposure, showed that some of my teammates had different colors for their icons. I don't know why. Maybe that was just something going on with my color filtration, but if that's a bug, hopefully they can get that looked at. Going back to movement, another big point of contention that a lot of people have was the dexterity perk. I personally am someone that doesn't believe that the dexterity perk should be given to us by default as a whole. I think that one part of it should be given to us by default, and that is where dexterity reduces the weapon motion, or how your gun bobbles up and down, especially when you do a jump shot or do a slide. The gun bobbing really should just not be there in general. I want that by default. Just make it so that the gun is just straight. Everything else, as far as ADSing while sliding, diving, or wall jumping, I do feel like that you should have a perk for that. Again, I think the movement does need to be slowed down a little bit with how strong aim assist is currently, to create a little bit more of a balance and a little bit more of a skill gap. Again, I know a lot of people that love the movement in BO6 and in BO7 are going to disagree with me on that, but that's just my personal thoughts on it. And something to help with that, I think they should bring back more movement mechanics, such as quicker drop shotting, maybe bring back bunny hopping. I know Matt Scrons, the head guy over at Treyarch, he said it in the past on Twitter especially, that he doesn't like a whole lot of jump spamming from players. But dude, I understand you guys make the game, but we're the players. We give you feedback. And this is what a lot of the players have been wanting for a while. Just give us more movement mechanics that we can use and enjoy other than the slide. That was one of the biggest problems with BO6, is that the slide was a crutch. It was pretty much the only piece of movement that you can use when trying to be aggressive and to get into a gunfight. So if you bring back more movement mechanics, like making jump shotting better, where your gun is straighter, bringing back bunny hopping, make drop shotting a little bit quicker, like how it was in Modern Warfare 19, that would differentiate the game a little bit and have more of a skill gap. Another thing I noticed in the beta, but I'm not sure that they will bring to the full game, is that there's no advanced stats. There were no advanced stats in the beta. Again, I don't know if that was just for the beta. If it's not coming to the full game, they should add it. Another thing I noticed in Search is that the bomb progress when planting or defusing it doesn't save. So for example, if I am planting the bomb and I get like about a third of the way through and I hear a guy to my right, I can't just drop the bomb, either take a look and kill a guy, and then when I go back to replant the bomb, it starts the progress over. It doesn't save from that 1/3 that I planted. I think that is something they should change. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's by design, but other than that, I think that they should make it so that bomb progress saves, whether you're defusing or planting, and also make it so that the bomb is open when it's grounded or when it's dropped, so that's a little bit easier to notice. I didn't think that it was so terrible to where the actual bomb is a briefcase where it's closed. Didn't make it so hard to see it and to maybe camp it or whatever the case is, but I do think they should open it up to make it a little bit easier to see. But for Search and Destroy, another big piece of feedback I have, the snipers are way too overpowered. Way too overpowered. They have got to do something to nerf snipers. Otherwise, I fear that BO7 is just going to be another Cold War game where snipers dominate the lobbies and there's really no way of getting around it other than using a sniper yourself. And I used the sniping a little bit and it was fun, but it was so frustrating to die to it every single lobby, no matter how skilled the lobby was. Everyone was using a sniper. The best way I think they can do that is to make it so that the snipers can't be as aggressive with the movement, and also add more flinch to sniping. I've been saying that for years, but along the lines of that, I do think that they should bring the riot shield into this game, but give us a significant counter to it. Modern Warfare 3, they gave us the bow, or in Modern Warfare 19, there was the crossbow, the explosive crossbow, to allow us to counter riot shields. I think that the riot shield would be a good addition to the game to troll and also to deal with the sniping if they don't change that. But I still think the attachment system for these guns is still a little weird, and it still may not offer a whole lot of differentiation between guns like how it was in BO6. So for example, it seemed still that stocks for a lot of guns just added movement speed, but they didn't do anything as far as adding recoil, and that goes with all attachments. I think that some of the attachment balancing needs to be significantly looked at to make it so that seemingly every gun is not so one-dimensional like how it was in BO6, where everyone's running the same attachment over and over again, and it just creates no diversity in the game and it makes it very, very boring. But speaking of guns, again, this goes back to what I've said before with the dexterity perk. I do think that they need to reduce the gun bobble just a little bit further. Again, I think visual recoil is still pretty good in this game, but the gun bobble, especially with the back end of the gun where it sways and it moves back and forth when you're strafing or when you're just walking forward where it bounces up and down, I think they should get rid of that just entirely. Something else I noticed was the menus seem a little bit glitchy, where when I would try to edit a class before a game actually starts, it would just get stuck, and every time I try to click on the perk to add it or change it, it just gets stuck. Or it would happen if I wanted to go into the gunsmith to make an attachment change. It wouldn't allow me to get into it. So that's just a giant bug or glitch that's going on, and I think that they'll get sorted out. But another big point of contention that I saw a lot from the community was the time to kill being a bit fast. I actually thought the time to kill was fine, and if anything, I would prefer it to be a little bit faster, just a tiny bit, not so much, just a tiny bit. I prefer the time to kill from Modern Warfare 19 or Modern Warfare 2 because it makes it a lot easier to balance one-shot weapons like shotguns and snipers to where you can actually make a play on those types of weapons. So I do think that the time to kill, at least in the current state it's at, is fine, but I would prefer it to be a tiny bit faster. And going back to perks, I'm curious, does Tac Sprinter work with a melee weapon? If it doesn't, and that's by design, I could kind of see why, and I can understand that, but maybe that's something that should be adjusted. Maybe you should have Tac Sprinter when using a melee weapon, because I wanted to experiment with it a little bit. But speaking of perks, when it comes to overkill, there needs to be way more balance with that, especially with how good the snipers are. I don't know what you could do with that. Maybe taking away 2 perk slots, maybe taking certain attachment fields away for certain guns like snipers to where overkill is more properly balanced. But I've been saying that for years. A lot of people have been saying that for years, where overkill is still very overpowered and they still haven't found a proper balance for it, but they got to do it somehow. UAV pings. UAV pings seemed pretty delayed when showing an enemy on the mini-map. Seems like whenever there was a UAV sweep, the ping would come in just a tiny bit late. I think that's something that they should adjust. And on movement, again, mantling's got to be much, much faster. Even with dexterity, mantling's still pretty slow. So I would like for them to speed up mantling, not just needing to use the dexterity perk, just speed up mantling altogether. And please just get rid of the stupid ledge hanging. That's been in the game now for what, 3, almost 4 years? And also, something that was really annoying, and it seemed much worse in BO7 compared to a lot of games, and maybe this is just me being shaded, but the player collisions were so awful. I noticed the second when I played Search and Destroy and I tried to make a rush, I was just bumping and bumping into my teammates, and it was very annoying. They got to get that fixed. A couple of last points I want to make is I think that we should be able to adjust our classes in between rounds in Search and Destroy. That's one of the things that I think is very underrated about Modern Warfare 3, is that we can adjust our class in between rounds, not just when we die. So I hope that they can get that adjusted. And the last thing that I want to mention is with tac stance. I think a tac stance should be given to us by default and not be limited to a laser attachment. I think tac stance was a pretty good addition to Modern Warfare 3, and they are able to do it with BO7. So hopefully they can just make it given to us by default as opposed to using a laser attachment. But yeah, those are my thoughts on BO7. And again, overall, I really liked it. I do think it will be better than Black Ops 6, but that's a very low bar to meet, and I don't know overall how good it will be, but I hope that it will be very good, especially with the big changes to persistent lobbies and skill-based matchmaking that are allegedly coming, and of course aim assist being changed. Hopefully we are in for a very good year, and I also want to say thank you to Battlefield 6 for coming out with a pretty decent product that just launched, and it's actually pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. And we're finally going to be getting a Call of Duty that hopefully will be actually fun, and we can all just have a good time with it and not have to deal with the skill-based matchmaking blender all the time. On its own, BO7 was pretty decent. I look forward to playing it, and I hope you guys do. And let me know what you guys thought of the beta and what you can expect for the full release. What did you guys like from the beta? What did you not like? What do you hope gets changed? What do you hope not gets changed? Let me know all of that information down below in the comments. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts. But yeah, I thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later.